Welcome back to Zahid's Reborn Republic, where we dust off the hidden chapters of history, examine them under the light of evidence, and rediscover what truly shaped the world we live in. Today, we revisit one of the most enduring questions in American lore. What secret society or network of groups really shaped the American Revolution? Was it a spontaneous outburst of ordinary colonists tired of distant taxes and overreach? Or did discrete organizations, shared ideals, and quiet coordination play a bigger role than textbooks usually admit? We'll walk through the evidence step by step, separating documented history from persistent legends. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe. It's the best way to join the Republic and stay connected as we keep uncovering these stories. Grab your favorite drink, find a quiet spot, and let's step into the shadows of the 18th century together. Most history lessons present the American Revolution as a clear, heroic chain of events. It begins around 1765 with the Stamp Act, a British tax on paper goods that ignited widespread anger. Protests followed, building to the Boston Massacre in 1770, where tensions between soldiers and civilians boiled over. Then came the Tea Act of 1773, leading to symbolic acts of defiance. By 1775, armed clashes at Lexington and Concord marked the war's start, and in 1776, the Declaration of Independence formalized the break. This narrative is inspiring. Everyday people, farmers, artisans, merchants, rising against tyranny. But zoom in on the logistics. How did ideas spread across 1,500 miles of rough roads, slow ships, and no instant communication? Who coordinated boycotts that hurt British trade? Who ensured consistent messaging from Boston to Charleston? The answers point to organized networks operating with discretion. These weren't always secret societies in the cloak and dagger sense, but groups using privacy for safety and efficiency in an era when open dissent could mean arrest for treason. Three names surface repeatedly in records and discussions: the Sons of Liberty, grassroots action groups; Freemasonry, a fraternal network providing trust and shared philosophy; the Bavarian Illuminati, often whispered about but rarely with evidence. We'll examine each carefully, relying on primary sources like letters, lodge records, and contemporary accounts. Our goal isn't sensationalism, it's understanding how collaboration, ideas, and relationships turned local grievances into a unified movement. Transition, soft page turn with a gentle Masonic knock sound effect. The Sons of Liberty emerged in 1765, directly after the Stamp Act passed. They weren't a single national club with dues or rosters. Instead, they formed as loose local networks in major ports: Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Charleston, with similar goals but independent operations. In Boston, the core included Samuel Adams, a skilled organizer and writer who used newspapers and pamphlets to rally support. Paul Revere, the artisan and messenger, created engravings that visualized grievances and spread messages visually. John Hancock, a prosperous merchant, offered financial backing for publications and events. Dr. Joseph Warren brought eloquence and medical credibility, while others like William Molyneux contributed local influence. Meetings often happened in taverns like Boston's Green Dragon, where conversations could blend into ordinary social life. They used signals, pseudonyms, and minimal written records to protect members from British spies. Their motto, "No taxation without representation," captured the core demand. Actions focused on economic pressure and public awareness, organized boycotts of British imports, symbolic displays under liberty trees to protest officials, and community gatherings to build solidarity. The Boston Tea Party in 1773 exemplified careful planning. Participants acted in disguise to make a political statement against monopoly, emphasizing symbolism over destruction. Were they a secret society? In practice, yes. Discretion was essential for survival. But their purpose was political activism, not esoteric ritual. They drew from Enlightenment ideas of rights and representation, echoing thinkers like John Locke. By the late 1760s, chapters linked across colonies through couriers and shared correspondence, coordinating responses without modern tools. This network helped transform scattered protests into a continental pushback. Historians see them as an early form of organized civic resistance, relying on personal trust rather than hierarchy. Freemasonry arrived in the colonies in the early 1700s, growing into lodges in nearly every major city by the 1760s. It began as trade guilds, but evolved into a society promoting moral growth, brotherhood, and Enlightenment values. Reason, virtue, liberty. Lodges welcomed diverse members, merchants, lawyers, printers, officers. They crossed religious and class lines, creating neutral spaces for discussion under vows of confidentiality. Key figures included George Washington, initiated in 1752 in Virginia's Fredericksburg Lodge, and later Master of Alexandria Lodge. Benjamin Franklin joined in Philadelphia in 1731, rising to prominence. Paul Revere became Grand Master in Massachusetts. Joseph Warren held similar leadership until his death in 1775. Among declaration signers, about 9 of 56 were confirmed Masons, including Franklin and Hancock. For the Constitution, around 13 of 39. Military allies like Lafayette and von Steuben also belonged. Freemasonry contributed in practical ways. Ready-made communication channels. A traveling Mason could find welcome and verified identity in any lodge. Shared language of liberty, equality, fraternity, and opposition to arbitrary rule. Bonds of trust stronger than typical friendships, enabling discreet political talks. Symbolic influence, tools like the square and compass represented moral uprightness. Symbols like the Eye of Providence, divine watchfulness, and unfinished pyramid, enduring strength, later appeared on the Great Seal, chosen in 1782 by committees including Franklin, a Mason, and others influenced by classical and Enlightenment motifs. These weren't invented by Masons, but shared cultural elements. Importantly, Freemasonry as an institution stayed neutral, no official stance on politics. Individual Masons participated based on conscience, and some remained loyalists. Lodge records show continued meetings during the war, but no evidence of centralized plotting. Historians like Stephen Bullock describe it as a facilitator of Republican ideas, not a command center. It helped knit together a fragmented society through personal networks. The Bavarian Illuminati was founded May 1, 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, a professor seeking to promote rationalism against superstition and authoritarianism. Limited to southern Germany, membership never exceeded a few thousand. Banned in 1785, it dissolved quickly. Claims of Illuminati involvement in the American Revolution fail on basics. Timeline mismatch. Major events, Stamp Act protests 1765, Tea Party 1773, War's Start 1775, Declaration July 1776, occurred before or immediately after founding, with no time for meaningful transatlantic links. No primary evidence, no letters, funds, or records connect Weishaupt to American leaders. Origins of the theory. Late 1790s books by John Robison and Abbé Barrel, reacting to the French Revolution, retroactively blamed Illuminati infiltration of Freemasonry for upheavals, including America's. American preacher Jedediah Morse echoed this in sermons, fueling brief panic. Scholars view these as conspiracy literature, driven by fear rather than facts, akin to unfounded narratives today. The Illuminati had no role in shaping the revolution. Attributing events to them ignores colonists' genuine efforts. No single secret society orchestrated the revolution. Instead, a hybrid web of overlapping networks created the necessary unity. Sons of Liberty, street-level mobilization and public pressure. Committees of correspondence from 1772, communication backbone, started by Samuel Adams in Boston, spreading to link colonies through letters sharing news, strategies, and calls for unity. They evolved into the Continental Congress Foundation. Freemasonry, trust, philosophy, and cross-colonial bonds. Merchant alliances and radical Whig clubs, financial and intellectual support. Local committees of safety, militia coordination. This structure adapted to needs, secrecy for protection, openness for recruitment. It spanned classes from elites to artisans and relied on Enlightenment ideals of rights and self-governance. Primary sources show this synergy. Adams's letters to other leaders, Franklin's diplomacy leveraging personal ties, Washington's correspondence highlighting alliances. Economically, coordinated boycotts pressured Britain peacefully. Intellectually, pamphlets like Paine's Common Sense circulated via these channels, swaying opinion. This model mirrors successful movements worldwide, collective effort through relationships and shared vision. Symbols endure on the dollar bill's reverse, the Great Seal's unfinished pyramid, strength, growth, topped by the Eye of Providence, divine favor. With Annuit Coeptus, he has favored our undertakings, and Novus Ordo Seclorum, new order of the ages. Chosen in 1782 by a committee with Enlightenment influences, these reflect classical republicanism and providence, not hidden Masonic control, as some claim. The eye predates widespread Masonic use. The pyramid symbolizes lasting foundation. They represent optimism for a new era built on liberty and reason. Today, they remind us how ideas from networks shaped national imagery without implying conspiracy. The revolution's true secret was collaboration among extraordinary, ordinary people using available tools, trust, communication, ideals to achieve independence. This question endures because it probes deeper. Was America founded by hidden elites or everyday citizens? The evidence shows a middle path, diverse people leveraging networks for change. In our era of instant connection, similar dynamics appear in activism and discourse. It teaches the power of shared purpose, critical evaluation of claims, and civic engagement. The founders didn't need shadowy cabals, they had each other, Enlightenment principles, and determination. That may be the most revolutionary insight. Thank you for exploring these paths on Zahid's Reborn Republic. If this episode sparked thoughts, like, comment your reflections, and subscribe for more. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep the Republic reborn.